What is up, everybody? My name is Justin. This is Forever Self-Employed. In today's video, we're going to be talking about, is pressure washing oversaturated? Short answer to this question is yes and no. Yes, it is oversaturated for some people within the pressure washing industry, and no, it's not saturated for others in the industry. So in this video, I want to show you guys how you can be the percentage of the industry that it's not oversaturated for and how to avoid the other side of that. But before we get into that, I do want to mention that the Inner Circle is going to be closing on December 15th. Now, if you don't know what the Inner Circle is, check out the first link in the comment section and the description. But basically what it is it's a closed group where myself, Mike Vidan, and Aaron from Aaron's Lean Mint Academy do bi-weekly coaching calls. We have the most six-figure earners in the pressure washing industry, and every week we all come in. We talk about what's working in the industry, how we're landing jobs, how we're quoting jobs, how we're doing particular cleanings, upsells that we're offering, things like that, as well as there is a course drip, so you will be getting courses if you do join the Inner Circle. So if any of that sounded interesting to you, check out the first link in the comment section and description. Like I said, it's closing December 15th, and I'm not sure when it's going to be reopening. But with that out of the way, let's go ahead and get into the video. Is pressure washing oversaturated? First thing I want to look at with you guys is the Pareto principle, right? The Pareto principle states that 80% of outcomes are the result of 20% of the inputs. So if we look at this triangle here, this basically represents the pressure washing industry as a whole. So at the bottom, we have 80% of the industry. And at the top, we have the top 20%. Now, based on Pareto's principle, it basically states that 80% of the industry only accounts for about 20% of the business. However, the top 20% of the industry accounts for about 80% of the business. So you guys can see how the industry is oversaturated for the bottom 80% when they're only able to account for 20% of the business. However, for the top 20% accounting for 80% of the business, it's not oversaturated. So the question then becomes, how can we become the 20% that the industry isn't oversaturated for? How can we become the 20% that represents 80% of all the business that's done? And in order to figure that out, we need to ask ourselves a couple questions. We need to really take a look into the mirror right here and see what are the top 20% doing versus what are we doing, right? So the first question is, how do the top 20% get customers? First and foremost, probably Google My Business. They probably have a strong Google My Business that ranks high up in the 3-pack, and they have a ton of organic traffic coming to them. There was a study done that showed when people search on Google, 33% of the time they're picking the first search result no matter what. Meaning, if there was 1,000 people in your area searching for pressure washing, 333 people a month would be coming to you organically just by ranking number 1. That is a top 20% trait. Next, paid ads. The top 20%, since they're accounting for 80% of the business, they have expendable income. They're able to reinvest back into their business. And once you figure out paid ads, it's pretty much a scaling game. When you can put $1 into an ad and return $3, why wouldn't you put $1 million into the ad and return $3 million? So they have really good GMB. They've figured out paid advertising, so that way it's working for them constantly. They're really good at word of mouth. Check out the GMB. Search pressure washing in your area. How many 5-star ratings do the top guys have in your city? I've heard of top cities having 200, 300, 400 ratings. How good are you at getting reviews for your company? How good are you at creating cheerleaders for your company that are constantly bringing you more business? And then lastly, a website, right? Who builds their websites? How do they look? How user-friendly are they? How easy is it to get a quote? We need to evaluate this and see, what do the pros look like? What does the top 20% look like? What does the bottom 80% look like? I guarantee that the bottom 80% probably doesn't even have a website. They probably don't even have a GMB, and they don't have enough money to run paid ads, so they're doing flyers. They're passing out flyers. They're doing yard signs. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying, if we want to become the top 20%, we need to start advertising like the top 20%. Next, how do the top 20% quote? It's probably remotely. Everybody who has too much lead flow coming in is quoting remotely, right? Unless it's a huge job that they don't want to miss out on, huge commercial job, something like that. If it's a small residential job, they're quoting them remotely. They're quoting them super fast. They're probably charging more than what everybody else is charging for them because they can afford to lose them. And oftentimes, I think it's 85% people go with the first quote that they get. 85% of the time, people choose the company with the first quote that they get. So they're quoting remotely. They're getting fast quotes out. People are accepting them. They're getting a ton of business like that. How are you currently quoting? Are you scheduling out a day to quote? Are you like, hey, I'll come by on Wednesday, and right now it's Friday, so you can't go for the next 4 days, so they can call any other company in the area and get a quote really fast? We need to look at that. Next, how do they carry themselves? How do they carry themselves versus how do you carry yourself? Do they justifying their price to the customer? No, they don't care, because the top 20% has more business, 80%, than they could ever fulfill. So how are they carrying themselves? They're not afraid to lose customers. They're not afraid to quote higher than what the customer can afford. They're looking out for their ideal customer, and they're moving forward if whatever the customer is doing doesn't fit that criteria. How are they speaking with customers, right? That kind of goes into the same thing. How are they carrying themselves? But are they upselling on site? Are they selling more than one service whenever somebody inquires about a roof cleaning? Are they selling a house and a driveway as well? Probably so. Whenever somebody inquires about one service, do you try to upsell them on your services? If not, you're probably bottom 80. If you want to be, you need to start upselling, top 20. How do we get better? How can we move up, right? This whole thing here is all about leveling up. I'm just presenting all these questions to you so you can figure out how to level up, because I promise you 80% of the guys are not going to do any of these things, right? So everything that I'm presenting is just to level you up. How are they presenting quotes? How can we present quotes like them? How do they follow up? Whenever a customer doesn't opt in for the quote or they don't get back to them, do they have email automation that automatically follows up with them? I can guarantee you 80% of the industry does not have that. What does their website look like? We kind of talked about that up there. How do they keep up with customers? How often are they emailing them? How often are they texting them? What kind of deals are they sending out to them? How often are you keeping up with your customers? Can you tell me a year ago on this day what customer you serviced, how much the job was for, what their name, their number is, and their email is? If you can't, you're probably bottom 80. If you can, you might be top 20, right? I have a couple more. How do they establish relationships with business owners? How are they leveraging one commercial job into the next? How are they meeting these commercial clients? Are they coming through on GMB? Are they following up with them the right way? Are they keeping up with them? Are they sending them offers? Are you doing that? Because if not, you're probably falling within that 80%. What equipment are they running? Are they running a 2.5 gallon a minute? Probably not. They're probably running 8s. They're probably running 20-inch service cleaners. They probably are running maybe even 12s. They probably have multiple trucks. Some of these things we can't do out the gate. But if we ask ourselves some of these questions, we can begin to see the differences between the 80 and 20%, right? And what we want to do is we want to reflect and we want to present whatever it is that we're going for, right? So even if you are bottom 80, even if you do have a 2.5 gallon a minute unit, that doesn't mean that you can't make the GMB. That doesn't mean that you can't start investing in paid ads. That doesn't mean that you can't get a review on every single job that you go on. That doesn't mean that you can't start quoting remotely. That doesn't mean you can't start carrying yourself as if you're accounting for 80% of the industry. That doesn't mean that you can't start speaking to your customers better and presenting quotes better and following up better and making your website look better and keeping up with customers and establish relationship with business owners. You guys can see how the industry is oversaturated for some, but it's not oversaturated for others. For the people who are willing to go the extra mile and see what the top companies are doing and to emulate the top companies, you have the ability to become one of the top companies in the industry. And whenever you do this, you don't ever have to worry about the 80% because you're at the top, baby. And everything falls within this 80-20 principle. So you're either at the bottom or you're at the top. Which one do you want to be? Anyway, comment down below 20% and I'll hashtag you're a real one. Also, I want to mention Inner Circle is going to be closing December 15th. If you haven't checked it out already, first link in the comment section description. My name is Justin. This is Forever Self-Employed. Until next time, though, hustle hard and get that money, baby. Peace.